the straw man's shadow. In order to protect the wheat sprouts in the field from being harmed by birds, the father crafted a scarecrow. This scarecrow was nearly as tall and as stout as the father, so it naturally ended up wearing the father's clothes. The scarecrow was placed right in the center of the field. To the father's surprise, the scarecrow proved highly effective in deterring the birds, who dared not approach the wheat field anymore. The imposing scarecrow caught the attention of the father's 6-year-old son. He quietly made his way to the center of the field, observing the scarecrow intently. He noticed that the scarecrow was made of golden wheat stalks that glistened brightly in the sunlight. Whenever the wind blew, they rustled continuously, as though singing along with the breeze. The son grew fond of the scarecrow and visited it daily. He often held its hand, and the wheat field echoed with the sound of innocent laughter. But this idyllic period was short-lived. The father soon informed the son that the wheat had fully matured, and it was time for the harvest. The scarecrow's mission was also nearing its end. With a sickle in hand, the father entered the wheat field. As the 3-acre field was harvested, it meant that the scarecrow's time to leave had arrived. While the father was busy with the harvest, the son stood by the scarecrow, observing his hardworking father in the distance. He glanced at the scarecrow and then at his father, and suddenly, a gleam of insight crossed his young mind. 2 days later, the father completed the final harvest, and he approached the scarecrow. He intended to remove the last remaining object in the field. However, he noticed his son standing there, right in front of the scarecrow. The son, concealed in a patch of shade, was gazing at his father toiling diligently under the scorching midday sun. The father's heart was touched as he realized that, amidst the relentless heat of the sun, his son had managed to find a semblance of shade cast by the scarecrow. The boy took another look and noticed that the patch of shade was the scarecrow's shadow. He said, "Daddy, look, although the wheat is harvested, the scarecrow should remain here." The father smiled and asked, "Why should it stay when the wheat is already harvested? With no birds coming, and I'm off to dry the wheat, why would you need the scarecrow?" The son stared at his father and replied, "Daddy, the scarecrow wears your clothes, and its shadow looks just like you're still and strong. While you're busy working, I can only play with it. I feel like the scarecrow is your shadow. It can't talk, but it plays with me. It also shields me from the sun and blocks the wind." Looking at his earnest son, the father's eyes grew teary. He approached the boy and embraced him. Father and son stood together in the wheat field, motionless, as if they, too, had become two scarecrows. Unintentionally, the father's towering figure blocked the sunlight, and the son nestled into his father's embrace, finding refuge in his shadow. Meanwhile, the equally imposing scarecrow whispered in the wind, continuing to sing softly. Its shadow shifted as the sunlight played tricks on it. At that moment, warm sunbeams cascaded upon the entire field, filling it with a resplendent golden glow. Moral of the story: sometimes, what's most valuable isn't what we see but the emotions and memories tied to it.